All right, the latest numbers are out for January 2025. Recording time right now is February. Let's take a look at the latest, most fresh numbers for the Toronto and GTA real estate market. There is a lot of things to discuss. All right, we have the TREB resale market report out for January 2025. Let's first start by taking a look at the year-over-year summary quickly, and then we're going to transition to looking at sales and average prices by home and location. To start, the year-over-year summary is a bit of bad and a bit of moderate. First and foremost, in total sales, we see a decline of 7.9%. This is nearly an 8% drop in total sales, because in January we only saw about 3,347 sales. January 2024, there was nearly 4,200 sales. So sales activity down nearly 8%, but really the inventory numbers are the most alarming. New listings came in at 12,000 new listings. That's a lot for January. Whereas in January of 2024, we had only about 8,300 new listings. This was a 40% increase. But 40% is not the biggest increase we're seeing here. We're actually seeing a 70% increase in terms of active inventory. That's right, 70% active inventory increase from a total of 10,083 to 17,000. That's a lot. Despite that, prices has remained pretty steady, I would say, year over year, with an increase of 1.5%. My classic saying on this channel is 1 to 2% either direction doesn't really mean anything. And then we have the listing days on market stats there. The new listing figure doesn't surprise me, especially the fact that it's so up, because that's what we kept hearing in fall of 2024 and winter of 2024 for buyers that I was working with, and we were placing offers on units or houses, and the houses and units had a bottom line. They always said, we're just gonna wait until the new year. So that doesn't surprise me. And frankly, I gave some of that advice to a lot of sellers of mine. In certain situations, what we were receiving on market was far below what we could afford to sell at. So it just didn't make sense to wait until the new year with the interest rates coming down. And at the time of recording of this video, another planned interest rate coming. But in summer, really, when you look at it, active inventory is up 70%, new listings is up 40%, but guess what? Sales is down nearly 8%. Now, of course, at all times, it makes the most sense to look at these numbers on a month-over-month basis as well, right? Year-over-year basis is helpful, but let's look at it in context. For this month in specific, though, I kind of hesitate to do that because really December is not a month in terms of real estate terms. December, the market always seizes to a halt, even in very hot markets. Sales dip, activity dips, prices dip. December, everyone kind of takes off December. I mean, not yours truly, because December, I actually was working with a lot of opportunistic buyers, but for majority of the market, December is just a non-existent month. Going forward though, we're gonna also look at month over month, as we have done in the past year and 2 years really. And by the way, I share across all this information and more in advance of these videos in my exclusive WhatsApp group chat. The link is in the description. I share all types of observation, have conversations with the people in there. It's 100% anonymous. No one else knows who is in that chat but me. So feel free to click the link and join. But let's move forward and take a look at home prices by property type and area. This is where things start to get even a little bit more interesting. So we have this chart up, sales and average prices by major property type, broken down by 416, 905 total. You guys already know the gist of what we're looking at. And really, a couple of observations off the bat. On prices, right, average prices, there wasn't that much of volatility. Really, honestly, like for instance, semi-detached being down 3.7% in the 416 and townhomes being up 5.1% in the 416 was really as high as we got. Anything above the 2% mark, either positive or negative. You know, for as much as condos are just collecting dust, struggling, it really has for condos been, with the exception of last year's spring market and the year before that, for all the other months for condos, it has been a death by 1,000 cuts, because every month it seems as if we're looking at just barely a, 0.8% decline or a 0.2% decline or a 1.6% decline. That has been really the story. And the reason I make note of saying, with the exception of the spring market, don't get me wrong, the spring market last year was not a hot seller-friendly market, but it was still the highest months for condos. I foresee that being the case for 2025. It won't be a hot seller-friendly market, but it will be much more seller-friendly than the summer and right now. With the obvious new impending tariffs, that can throw everything out of whack. And if I can look into the future, my classic catchphrase would be, I would be in my vineyard in Portugal. So I'm not, thus I can't see into the future. Anyways, point is, what's not shocking is the 14.5% decline in condos in the 416, and really 12% decline in terms of sales. I am seeing this on the ground once again. With a lot of my buyers, we are really coming to this no man's land where the sellers are not willing to come below a certain price point. And obviously, since they are my buyers, I inform them of the market comparables, what prices we should be looking at, what's an overpay, what's a good pay, what's a steal of a deal. And luckily, most of my buyers listen to my word. And really, we aren't able to exceed certain price points when we're offering something. And this is not lowballing, by the way. In a lot of cases, we are offering fair market value, according to my opinion, or their opinion. The point is, there is just this Rubicon that no one wants to cross. The sales are still to come by. I just purchased a 2-bedroom that was around 800 square feet. We bought it for $638,000. Really good purchase price, if you ask me, in a really good building. But I would say right now, for every one of my buyers where that is the case, there's another buyer where we're finding properties, it's just the seller's expectations are out of whack. And funny enough, for properties where the seller's expectations are like, it has to go, those properties are most often the case that they're the trash ones that like we don't even want, really, right? So it's kind of a weird catch-22 we're finding right now. But condos are not the only property type. Like every other property type in the area, for the most part, not all, are down 11% for detached in 905, down 7% in detached or semi-detached in 905. In total, detached are down 8% in GTA wide. But of course, there's the exceptions. The only places we saw sales increase, and to a healthy degree, I would say, like semi-detached up 25% in the 416. Condos also up to a strong degree in the 416 to the tune of 15%. Really, in the 416, when you think about it, the only property type that's down in terms of sales is condos, to no one's surprise. So going forward into February 2025, at the time of recording of this video, once again, February 7th. By the way, there's only 7 days for you guys to make your Valentine's Day reservations for the men out there who leave everything to the last minute. I did mine a month ago. But anyways, going forward into February, I do foresee a situation where February condo prices, and I'm specifically focusing on condos because that's the only thing people care about when I talk about. I foresee a situation where condo prices will increase in February from January. Whether it's going to be a 1% increase or a 3% increase, I'm not sure, right? But I think that I am in the early stages of February, and it could also be just the property types I'm dealing with. The better property types, you know, not to sound obnoxious, but it could just be the types of units, types of buildings I'm looking at every day. However, I am noticing an uptick, not in sales, not even in prices, but more so offers being registered. And I feel like I've said this last February and the February before that because it's just what I'm seeing. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a minor uptick in February average and median sold prices. And of course, at the end of the day, GTA is large, right? I'm mainly here talking about downtown, midtown, Toronto West, Toronto East, and then certain parts of York region. And then of course, there is yet another interest rate cut coming, and that is a discussion in of itself. Anyways, hopefully this video was informative. As always, do not hesitate to ask any questions in the comments. Feel free to get in touch with me. My link is in the bio. I am a full-time realtor, and I have been lucky enough to meet a lot of lovely folks from this channel. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, and as always, stay tuned.